Visionaries, creative geniuses, modern-day Renaissance men. These are not the words that people who know Luke and Jorge would use to describe them. They are best friends, shameless connoisseurs of the basic and the niche. And most importantly, two guys just being dudes. Welcome to Bad Jokes and Semi-Wisecracks with Luke and Jorge.
Welcome to the podcast.
What's up? We are your hosts. I am Lukeford, first of his name, keeper of the keys and lord of the 9 realms.
And my name is Bryan, Davíd, Gilberto.
Wait, is Toe your last name?
No, it's Gilberto.
Oh, it's one thing?
Yeah.
Not like a Gilberto as a middle name and then Toe as your last name?
No.
Okay.
Yeah. It's no, I don't have a hyphenate last name. That's Gilberto.
Great.
Yeah, it's again, that's Bryan, Davíd, Gilberto.
Excellent.
Welcome to the podcast.
What's up?
This is going to be a very fun episode. I have so much anticipation.
Yeah, me too. It's bubbling.
Oh, it's where it's about to burst.
Yeah, but like in a good way.
But in in a non-weird sort of way.
Yep.
This is a very special episode because today we have a special guest.
Yeah, it's our buddy Matthew.
Yay!
Oh, hey, I didn't see you there. It's my friend's first of his name and toe. God, it's been so long.
Yeah,
it's
super
been
long.
It's been way long. Yeah. Hey, it snowed here in Denver. Did it snow where you are, Matt?
No, it did not. It's not even overcast. It's like bright blue, sunny skies today.
Oh, I'm very jealous.
I'm not jealous. All right, I'm jealous of you guys, I should say. I miss the snow.
And it misses you.
Aw.
Well, that's really sweet of you.
You can have some. We can just like pass it through the internet to you.
You FedEx me some snow.
Oh
yeah. We have to overnight it so it doesn't melt.
Yeah. We tried to send you a snowman, but it melted, and they wrote a movie about it.
Well, it's funny you say that because I know what you guys do, first of your name and toe. I listened to your podcasts in preparation, and you're towing dangerously close to the proposition that I prepared.
Oh.
Oh my goodness.
We're gonna save that for later. I'm not gonna get ahead of myself.
Wow, we really came prepared for this.
Yeah.
For this podcast interview, we're really gonna grill you.
I know. I'm feeling the pressure.
Yeah.
I'm sweating.
So for those that don't know, our buddy Matthew is originally my friend. First of his name doesn't get to claim.
Right.
This Matthew.
I changed your name from Matthew D&D in my phone like last week. So yep.
That's so sweet.
Now you get to have a last name, which I won't say on the podcast.
It's not D&D.
It's not D&D.
I added your last name when I learned your last name, which was embarrassing late in playing D&D with you.
You know, that's all
I'm
right.
not going to tell you exactly when that was.
That's amazing. Yeah, so as you can tell, we play D&D with Matthew. I've known Matthew since high school. He was actually my first DM in this grand game of D&D before 5th edition. This was eons ago, probably.
It's true.
We've known each other since high school. You're a little bit older than me, so I didn't get to spend a ton of time with you. But yeah, we've been good buds ever since. You went on to marry another one of my friends, another one of our friends that we played D&D with.
Yeah.
Who was also been on the pod.
Right.
Coincidentally, an earlier special guest.
Yeah.
Yes, our friend Kate is friends with our buddy Matthew.
And by
We're
friends,
very close friends.
Very.
We're exceptionally close. She's the best.
Some might say that you almost live together.
Yeah,
Almost.
yeah. Those people would be sadly misinformed because we do live together. We're in fact buying a house together, effective very soon. You know,
right.
We're very excited.
Once again, I am the only one in the room that does not own land.
It's okay. You'll get there. I'm
I sure
absolutely
hope
certain
not.
that. Well, I want to say abundance is in your future. You know,
Well,
my intention, my statement to you into the void, that is your internet audience is, you know, prosperity's coming your way.
that sounds like a Panda Express fortune cookie.
yeah, that was very generous of you. I appreciate that. I thought I was gonna get something like, don't cross the street on a Tuesday.
No streets. You
No
can't cross
streets.
any of them on,
No streets.
on Tuesday.
Stay home.
Or within your block.
Or within your
as
block.
long as you don't cross any streets.
Can I fly? If I'm flying, can I?
Ooh, that's a tough
Ooh.
one.
Right?
Or if you burrow
Ooh.
under the street, are you still crossing it?
Ooh. Right.
We need to get Panda Express in on this call.
Panda.
Get some answers.
We the people are demanding answers. Now that the people know who Matthew is, you actually had some stuff that you wanted to say, a sort of rebuttal
Oh,
to
Yep.
Kate being on the episode.
there were some slanderous characterizations bandied about on your well-intentioned program by my dearest friend. And in response, I have to say, I have never seen an episode of The Chappelle Show.
Wow.
Whoa.
Not one.
Whoa. Okay.
I'm all right with that being said out loud.
That's totally fine.
Yeah.
So for those of you that missed this, which is everyone besides me and Luke, we're on a Zoom call with our buddy Matthew, and Kate just popped into the Zoom call to say that he was a liar. So I don't know
Well,
who to
that's-
believe. So
Yeah.
Well, you can believe me because I have the microphone and I can explain myself.
Right.
that's
true.
I'm a huge fan of Dave Chappelle and I've listened to a lot of his comedy specials, but I've never seen an episode of The Chappelle Show.
ooh,
So the tone that she described, I'm unfamiliar with.
oh, that's incredible. So, you know what this means? If enough people tweet at us, I just got a text from Kate.
Wait, did I also? Please hold.
I think so. Yeah,
We have to read this.
he loves the CJ. What is CJ?
What is
Chris
CJ?
Chappelle? Nope, that's
The
not.
Christ
Jesus.
Christ Jesus.
Kate, what is CJ?
I think she meant
Chamomile
the
jeans.
CS, right? The Chappelle Show. But instead we get the CJ, the main character of Grand Theft Auto San Andreas.
I am a huge fan of CJ.
Wow. So if we get enough people to tweet at us, when Luke and I finally are, in a place where we can take this show on the road to our newly vaccinated friends. You got your vaccine today.
I did get my vaccine today,
Woo.
and I'm very excited to see both of you.
Luke and I are both vaccinated.
Yeah, we are.
So this is really a
Nice.
plug for vaccines. Get your vaccines.
Get your vaccine.
The free
Get your
5G
vaccines.
has been incredible.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You just open your mouth and suddenly there's internet
Yeah.
wherever you are.
That's how we're doing this podcast.
Yep.
This is all telepathic. Yeah, no, if enough people tweet at us when we take the show on the road, we will go to the homestead of Matthew and Kate, and we will watch all of season 1 of the Chappelle Show.
Yep. That sounds excellent.
That's what we'll do if people tweet at us, or conversely, if people buy our merch, which we haven't made yet.
But we will.
Ooh.
Eventually, yeah.
Yep.
If you subscribe to our newsletter, you'll get to vote on what our merch is going to be.
Right.
That's what we've decided.
How do people subscribe to said newsletter?
You can go to our website, which is lukeandjorgepod.podbean.com.
Check it out.
If you do this, you can click on one of our tabs, and it should say email newsletter or something along those lines, and then fill it out, and then you'll be signed up to get our newsletter. Well, you'll find out who our guests are going to be before we have them on the show.
Yep.
Find out all of our news, when we're taking the show on the road, that sort of thing. And most importantly, you'll be able to vote on merch, and you'll get our monthly Spotify playlist.
Right.
Yes.
So sign up.
Sign up now at lukeandjorgepod.podbean.com.
Amen.
You can also email us at lukeandjorgepod@gmail.com. And
Please.
if you do that, we'll get your email. We'll add you to the newsletter.
Mm-hmm.
It'll be great.
Only if you want, though.
Yeah.
We're not about that spam life.
Yeah.
We're mostly not about
Mostly
that
not
spam.
about the spam life. We'll see what happens. You have to tell us explicitly that you don't want to be on the newsletter. To not be on the newsletter.
Right.
Anyways.
It has to be a notarized letter saying that you don't want to be in the newsletter.
Has to be signed by both of your senators.
Right.
Residents of D.C. has to be signed by the president. If you're from Guam, you're automatically excluded from Can I
So
put
DC, do you
So-
think it should be a state? Is that too heavy for this podcast?
You know, I think that I don't like even numbers. I think DC should be a state. 51, baby. What's 51 divisible by?
Nothing. I don't-
17?
Oh, really?
17.
Okay.
17 and 3? Is that right?
I would love to see
Yeah,
just like
right.
3 rows.
I
of
said that really
17.
confidently, and
You
I
said that?
got really worried that
Okay,
I was
that-
wrong, but I think I'm right.
Wait, hold. 17, 34. Yeah,
51,
51.
yeah.
Yep. Yeah.
Divisible by 17. So we'll just
A
have
plus.
3 lines with 17 stars on them.
Yeah. Or
I was about to
6
ask.
lines.
How
with
does that
half
work?
Of 17. What?
Well, I was about to ask
what's
where
half
you
of
guys
17?
would put the last star.
You just have to imagine. It's an imaginary star.
Yeah. You actually put all the other stars inside of the one big star.
Oh, that looked kind of cool.
Yeah.
8 and a half.
I'm in favor.
Yeah. We're basing the design off of the most recent Captain America stuff. Patrick, Starfish, Captain America.
Dude, I would love that. That would be amazing. What? And then on
Is
the shield
mayonnaise
is just a
patriotic?
picture of Patrick also, but also it's Patrick, so it's just like and then the picture of Patrick is also holding a shield. It's just like infinite Patrick shields.
What superhero would SpongeBob be? More importantly, what superhero would Mr. Krabs be?
Ooh. Jeff Bezos.
Dangerous assertion that Jeff Bezos is a superhero.
You're right. More like a super villain.
Mr. Krabs is his own, worst enemy.
I think,
I think he
What a-
toes the line between
Plankton.
hero and villain.
he's an anti-hero. You saying he's the Punisher?
Well, Plankton. I'm gonna talk a little bit like my D&D character here for a second and say that Plankton is representative of the everyman. Trying to struggle. Pull himself up by his bootstraps and challenge the mainstream, which is the Krusty Krab. And the tension between Plankton and Mr. Krabs is analogous to the tension between the working class and the wealthy. And Plankton is continually attempting to enter that elite social circle, but he is held down, not because his in this case, I think that's where the analogy ends, because he sells literal buckets of chum. But if he would just change that, then I think he'd be okay.
So you're saying that Plankton was the good guy this whole time?
I think
There's layers.
I think I haven't
there's
seen
nuance.
SpongeBob
In
right
so long.
in so long that I may be talking complete nonsense.
That's fair. I don't remember the last time I watched SpongeBob.
I actually watched a lot of season 1 like within the past month, and it is great. I highly recommend that you go rewatch at least season 1 of SpongeBob because it's as good as you remember.
I don't know if I remember it being that good.
It's better than you remember probably.
Okay, I'll take that.
Yeah. I thoroughly enjoyed it. Yep.
Wow.
Yep.
You know what SpongeBob really reminds me of?
A sponge.
A certain man by the name of J.R.R. Tolkien.
Okay.
What a beautiful transition.
What? Do you have a reason, or should we move past it?
No, let's. Actually, I do want to point something out. This might not make it to them. I might cut this also, but I have the movie copies of the books on my shelf. I don't know if you can see them on the edge.
Oh, I can see them. I have the same ones.
Yeah. I wanted to point that out
Neat,
to you because
neat.
you've never seen those, but I have them.
Excellent.
I also
The movie copies of The Lord of the Rings.
yes.
Ooh,
Yeah, that's the copy of the books I have is the $2 ones
Nice.
I got from Second and Charles.
Nice.
that's where I got my first D&D manuals.
Ooh.
A lot of good memories in that store.
The 4E
Same one you went to, I think. The 4E manuals. Hey,
Ooh.
you know what? I can back that up with proof.
Oh yeah, that's
There it
definitely
is.
the
barcode.
the orange and white barcode from. Ooh,
Nice.
that's solid.
4th edition.
Wow.
I think
Yeah.
Mr. Bezos hand delivered all of my my manuals.
My other manuals were hand delivered by Mr. Bezos.
Is that's what we should call the Amazon drones? Is the hand of Bezos,
Ooh. The fist of Bezos.
the crushing weight of Bezos?
Oh no.
That's what happens when you get run over by an Amazon truck. You're crushed by the weight of Bezos.
God, you're mentioning drones just reminded me. I work on a military base most days when I'm not working remotely, and I noticed a sign there today that said in big block letters, no drone zone. And it was right over the entrance to basically the military side of the airport in the city that I'm in. Half of it is the public airport and then half of it's the military airport. And I just pictured, and I laughed then and I'm laughing again now, someone who doesn't know better flying their drone over like where all of the fancy military planes are kept, and it just being shot down with extreme prejudice. Like, what? I didn't do anything.
I wasn't doing nothing to nobody.
The air is free.
Hey,
My First Amendment rights.
I thought this was America.
Yeah, that's the one.
There it is.
Well,
Get that on a bumper sticker. Are you allowed to tell us what you do at the military base for your job, or is it like a secret?
Oh, yeah, I can definitely tell you what I do.
Ooh, great.
I'll say for the record, it's so easy to know what you can and can't tell people. Like, the government makes it so easy.
Oh,
It's extremely, yeah. So I can tell you everything about what I do, really. So I program the back end of a flight simulator video game. That's basically the closest analogy I have. And of course, it's fancier than that because it's used for simulating warfare, whether it's in the air or on the water or on the land, but mostly in the air and on the water and under the water.
ooh.
And it's it's pretty slick. It's basically like a super fancy version of what's the name of that game? Age of Empires. At least the way that I like to mess around with it. In reality, you can like hook it up to actual flight simulators. I don't make the flight simulators. I just make the physics behind them. But in reality, you can hook this program up to real flight simulators, and then pilots get useful things out of it. But I think it's neat because it reminds me of Stellaris.
So basically,
it's a lot of fun.
You're like a video game developer contracted by the military.
Pretty much, yes.
That's
Pretty
incredible.
much.
That's how many teenage boys' dream that is.
I do, because I was a teenage boy once too.
Whoa! No way.
I know. I wasn't planning on revealing that, but this podcast seems like the place to do it.
We told you we're really grilling you. So
I know.
that
Yeah.
awfully reminds me of another person who was once a teenager. His name is Frodo Baggins.
Well,
Dude, I think he's still a teenager with all the like, oh, I can't walk up the mountain and that kind of stuff. Like,
Or the way he's like trying to leave his friends.
yeah.
He's like, oh, I need to go on this adventure on my own. And then he runs into his friends and they're like, yeah, we were waiting on you. What do you mean you're going to leave without us? Bro, you've been acting so weird.
Yep. There's no way he's more than like 16.
Yeah.
Yeah.
he was 50.
He was 50. Yeah.
Yeah, but like
He was
Hobbit
50
years,
at the
you know?
Yeah, I hear what you're saying.
Yeah. But, like his uncle was celebrating his 11st birthday.
Right.
Yeah.
Which I think that should come into the common lexicon. We need to talk about our 100 and teens that way. The French have it right. They have poetry. We say, 95. They say 420s, 10-5. They've got something there.
Wow. That seems like a lot of work just to say a number. But I guess that
Yeah.
is more poetic
Yeah.
than 95.
95.
It has one of my favorite
95?
numbers
It's
in
not
there.
95. It's
Cinq?
95.
Yeah.
I forgot the word for 15 in French briefly.
What's the word for 15?
Quinze. Quinze. So if it were 97, the word for 17 is just 10-7. So
Ooh.
97 would be 97. 420s, 10-7.
So what would a quinceañera be in French?
Quinceañera. Probably like the 15th, the 15th.
Quinceañera.
It's pretty
Can't
close.
you feel the love
Yeah.
tonight?
Can't. Though the other 14 of us aren't, but I am.
All right, team, I have a question for you. Would you like to hear what the question is?
Oh yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
So it's more of an idea. Here it is. So have you all seen The Lady and the Tramp?
A long time ago.
It's been a minute. Yeah.
You know the scene with the spaghetti?
Of course.
I know the spaghetti scene.
All right.
Yeah.
So as you may be aware, we're living in a pandemic. So doing
What?
crazy, right? This is April of 2021. So doing the spaghetti scene is perhaps not the most COVID safe these days. So I'm proposing a new brand of spaghetti where all the noodles are like 10 feet long. So that way you have plenty of wiggle room to do the spaghetti scene whilst remaining 6 feet apart for safe social distancing. So that way you have just a big bowl of spaghetti, but it's like a long, narrow bowl so you can eat off of opposite ends. And then when it's time to do the spaghetti move, you can just like start slurping both ends of your noodles, but then you can stop when you're still like 6-ish feet apart, and then you can just like wave to the other person. and then you can still do the cute thing from the movie.
Wow.
But you're safe from germs.
I would say this is quite the proposal. Proposition, if you would.
Yep. Here I am proposing it.
So this brings up a really interesting question in my mind, which is how many like 10-foot long spaghetti noodles makes a serving of spaghetti?
Ooh. So you know how like in like spoons they have like the slots where you can like stick it in to like see how many noodles you need to like fill up the slot or whatever? I feel like we would just need to get a new spoon that has a new slot. Cause like how long are regular noodles now? Like a foot maybe?
Yeah.
So like a tenth of the thickness to equal the same amount. So probably like 3, honestly.
I was gonna say not very many.
But also, this greatly increases the odds that you and your spaghetti meet cute partner are both slurping the same noodle at the same time. Because if you have like 50 noodles in your bowl, like the odds that you and your partner are slurping the same noodle are what, like 1 in 100 or something? Is that how math works? I don't know. But if there's only 3 noodles, then the odds are much closer that you'll have a good old slurping buddy for your noodle slurping.
What if it was just one noodle?
Okay, I'm behind this.
One like 30-foot long noodle. That's like bound in like a circle.
Okay,
So that's like because you got to be able to cook it.
true.
Because then you're just chomping on like raw spaghetti noodles.
It's cooked for like the middle foot, but the rest of it is still crunchy and raw. Terrible.
Yeah, but if they like store it in like a circle, then it's like a thing, and then you just drop it into your thin cooking vessel. 1 30-foot long noodle,
Yeah,
and then you guarantee it
right.
because you get one end and then just hand the other end to the partner.
So then do you start 30 feet apart and like walk towards each other as you slurp, or do you just like have it like draped on your lap while you're waiting until you get
No, it's in
closer?
sauce. It's like, it's bound up.
Okay.
And so it's like a tangled headphone situation.
I feel like the answer is going to have to depend on what sauce you use.
That's
Ooh.
true.
Because if you have like a thick cream sauce, you can probably sauce that noodle up and then walk around. But if your sauce is running, you need to think about containment.
Hey, is your sauce running?
Better go catch it.
I'm so sorry.
No, you're not.
No, I'm not.
But we're overall behind the idea of a COVID-safe spaghetti noodle meet cute noodle.
Honestly, Luke, I would buy this product.
Yeah.
Okay, great.
I think not only was this a great, I want to invest.
Great.
Members of the stakeholders,
Shareholders? Yes. We know how stonks work.
stanks, shareholders. If you like that idea,
Share
share
your holders.
with us.
Amen.
Amen. Hallelujah. Great. Wow.
Yep. Great. I'm glad that I brought a good idea for once.
I like your idea.
That was a good proposition.
That was a really good
Thank you. I
proposition.
thought of it earlier
Wow.
than like 1 minute before I said it, so that's new.
I'm very proud of you.
Thank you. Thank you. That's jazz, baby.
That's jazz. I think I might have something to propose also.
Are you sure?
Yeah.
Ooh.
Yeah. Okay. This is my proposition.
'Kay.
Have you ever been traveling? I know that, traveling is a foreign idea to many in the middle of a global pandemic. But imagine a time where we can once again visit our beloved friends and families all over the globe. Maybe. Probably at least the country.
I'm imagining.
Imagine that, say, you were going to such a place as, I don't know, Chicago.
All right. I'm imagining.
Imagine.
Totally unrelated to anything going on in any of our lives right now.
Absolutely. Imagine that you have friends in family and, acquaintances in Chicago.
Okay.
Folks that you care for. And folks who, more importantly, live in places.
That rules me out.
Well,
I don't know any of those people.
Now imagine that you were going to be in Chicago for any number of reasons, for a very short amount of time, and that you didn't have a place to stay.
Okay.
And imagine that you were having a hard time reaching out to those people and just being upfront and saying, "Hey, can I crash with you?"
I can't believe you made a PowerPoint slide that just says imagine for each slide.
I can see this in your glasses reflection.
It's weird that I'm not presenting this to either of you.
Just reading it to yourself.
This has got to be the worst Shark Tank presentation I've ever seen.
I
you
didn't bring a
seen-
dongle, so I can't. So I'm
Does
just.
this take USB-C?
Can you guys just want to hold this laptop and all? I printed out a copy of the slides for myself.
Next slide, please.
And next slide. So imagine that you were in this hypothetical situation.
Great.
How about a service in which you could tell people where you were going, and it would go through your contacts and figure out who lives in that place, and it would just automatically like, hey, this person is going to be near you. You have an open couch or an open guest room. Maybe you should offer it to them. And that way you don't have to ask, because sometimes you don't want to impose. And that way, if it's like through an app or through like a text message or whatever, and the person is like, oh, actually, I'm going to be out of town that day, or like, I don't know them that well, or like, I don't like them actually. It would just do the work of saying no. So that way I wouldn't have to like, or hypothetically I wouldn't have to ask people if I could stay with them, because, that sounds terrifying and stressful, and like it could, in theory, strain relationships that I know are already maybe a little tenuous. In theory, in practice.
Right. Hypothetically.
We don't know, yeah.
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 Whomever could say
Well,
this.
I'm really starting to sound like Ben Shapiro. Hypothetically. Let's say hypothetically. You have friends.
Oh, all right, I'm out.
Well, Ben, you really got me beat on this one.
How does the app know where someone lives? Do you have to like sign up for the app on both ends, or does it just like automatically know where everyone is? Do you know what I'm saying? Like if you're the stayer and somebody is the keeper of the couch, do you both have to have the app so that it knows, or can you, the stayer, just get the app and then it'll just like somehow magically know? I mean, like it knows, right? Like it's the internet. Everyone knows everything.
Everyone knows everything. Yeah.
Right.
It's powered by Facebook leaking information. That's a good question. That is a hurdle that we'll have to cross, definitely.
Okay. So like unspecified at this time?
Unspecified at this time, but it will, in theory, know.
Okay.
Yeah. It is the U.S. government. And it knows. It doesn't want you to know that it knows, but it knows.
Right. Like how many taxes you're supposed to pay.
Yeah.
It knows. It just won't tell you.
Yeah. That's for you to find out, baby.
And if you get it wrong, you go to jail.
Or you pay more than you need to.
Or that.
Yeah.
Depending on how wrong you are. Anyway, I feel all right about this. Yeah. Because, it can be awkward to be like, hey, can I sleep on your floor?
It's like, I know that we haven't talked since college, but or I know that I haven't seen you in 2 years because, we're cousins, but we're not like that close. But, maybe I have a cousin that, in theory, hypothetical.
Somebody could have one.
Or somebody could have a cousin that lives in
Someone
Chicago.
could have a cousin.
That could hook them up with like a floor to sleep on, so they don't have to get an Airbnb. In theory.
In theory, right?
I like this idea because it eliminates the possibility of active rejection. You're not going to know if somebody says no, and I feel like this would let a lot of people who are otherwise too shy to have a place to sleep in this scenario you've constructed actually have a floor to sleep on.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I also feel like as a person who has, I mean, you two definitely know how from firsthand experience, how much first of all, how much I love both of you dearly.
Uh-huh.
But also like I'm very open about, having places where people can sleep if they ever need to.
Mm-hmm.
And because of that, I think that not enough people have reached out to me when they've been in town. And I think if more people had reached out to me when they've been in town, they wouldn't have paid for hotels.
Right. That's always good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I availed myself of Jorge's backyard for 2 whole weeks,
Ah, I remember
Yeah.
that.
non-consecutive weeks.
Not a consecutive. It was so fun, and also
That was a lot of fun.
Also, I wish you could have slept inside, but I think
But-
honestly, maybe my backyard in like a tent was more comfortable than my couch.
Well, the unfortunate truth is I'm really, really allergic to cats. So I think it was
Yeah,
more comfy than the inside would have been.
yeah. I also
Yeah.
live with a cat, but I won't be. I'm moving.
Yeah.
Hey.
I'm not gonna tell the world where, but I am moving, and I won't be in a cat-free zone. So, with plenty of spaces that resemble beds.
Hey.
Is it just like a drawing of a bed that's like taped to the wall? Yeah, you can sleep here. You just have to like lean a little bit on the wall.
Yeah, that's definitely what I meant.
Yep.
I swept this piece of floor kind of recently. You can probably sleep there.
Cleaned it with a toothbrush. I like the idea that like also if you're a person that's like afraid to say no, then you can do it not to their face, which is nice.
Yeah.
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 All right. I'll share my shares with you for your shares.
Oh, let's share the shares. Thank you, board member.
Lukeford, first of his name,
First of his
keeper
name.
of the keys and lord of the 9 realms.
That's an incredible name.
Thank you. What
That's a
keys
great
are they?
name.
I don't know. And which
Oh.
realms? I don't know. But someone needs to keep the keys and someone needs to lord over the realms. So here I am.
Was it 9 realms?
Yes.
Cool. We'll figure out what the realms are.
I liked the proposition, and I liked that you two are going in with your shares, but I don't think I can go in because I have a proposition of my own, and I
Oh.
need those shares for myself.
Ooh.
I need the shareholder support here. So
Let's
So this
let's
is,
hear.
uh,
Let us hear.
Yeah.
this is a big deal. You know, this is something that affects a lot of people right now. You know, the worldwide economy really crashed last year, and it has not yet fully recovered. And some of the places that are getting hit hardest are brick and mortar retail stores. And some of the people who are hit hardest are the people who work in brick and mortar retail stores.
Ooh.
In particular, among those stores that have not come back to their full revenue flow yet are clothing stores and pet stores, selected at random from a list of many stores, clothing stores and pet stores. And my proposition is that these stores band together to offer customers a more well-rounded and a more fulfilling retail experience.
If you say clothes made out of pets, I am walking out of this room right now.
No. I'm suggesting the opposite. I'm saying the next time you walk into a Macy's and you're shopping for your slacks, there might just be a lizard thrown in with those slacks. You know, you buy two Y fronts, get a spotted lizard thrown in for free. I think the reverse fits in as well. Like if you need to buy fish flakes, you know, why not get a couple pairs of socks for your trouble?
I have always wondered what pet goes best with this outfit.
Mm-hmm. And I think this would provide you curated options to answer that question for your personal style idiom.
I'm not mad at this proposition.
Incredible.
Yeah.
When you talked about the lizard and the pants, I was picturing like you go to try on the pants, but the lizard is already there in the pants, and so you're just like greeted by like a fun surprise when you go to put on the pants, and it's a lizard that's also in the pants with you.
Well, that might be a fun surprise for some people, but I'd be terrified.
Yeah, me too.
I bet the lizard would be too.
So the lizards are separate from. There's like a different. Like they're kept somewhere else, not in the clothes.
What you're saying is that a lizard in your pants, or are you just excited to try them on?
Well, the obvious name for this rebranding campaign is the trouser snake. You know, that's where we're going with this. You know, but yeah, I definitely think that there's two options, right? Either Macy's gets a reptile display, or Petco gets a t-shirt rack.
I love it.
You know, because what we want to do is revitalize the brick and mortar storefronts. We don't want to have this be online ordering, because that doesn't put people in stores with jobs, and that's what we want to revitalize. So it's a matter of putting together two things that are both visually appealing. You know, oh, it's a brightly colored jacket. Oh, that's a brightly colored fish, and using the one to sell the other.
Here's my question. Here's my only wrench to throw into this machine. Aren't you allergic to cats?
I'm crazy allergic to cats. So I would stop shopping for clothes at this point, were this to go through. But that really wouldn't change my behavior all that much, as Kate could probably tell you. I mean, I can lift up this shirt right now and I can show you the holes in it. I can look at you through
Oh
those
wow,
holes.
yeah.
Hello.
Yeah, so
That's a one-eyed
just-
Matthew.
that's true. Yeah. So that wouldn't change my behavior all that much. I already get most of my socks at Christmas, and then that lasts me the year.
Who do you get socks from? Like your grandma or
My whole family, my parents,
gives
my
you socks?
grandparents, yeah, my wife, her parents, her grandparents. That's what happened this Christmas. I got a lot of socks.
wow?
I'm proud of you. That's awesome. That's a great time to get socks.
Were they all
It
the
was
same
good.
like genre of socks, or were there some that were like cold weather or like fun designed or like,
like
dress socks, or
Hiking
something?
socks.
No, that's a God. These are great questions. You're right on the money. So, I love talking about socks. So most of the socks I got were J. Crew dress socks because I was, starting a new job and last October, and I didn't have all that many dress socks because the dress code at my old job was pretty casual, and so I got a lot of dress socks this Christmas. But in previous Christmases, I've gotten a lot of Smart Wool hiking socks
Yeah.
Okay.
and Darn Tough, hiking socks. And the Darn Tough socks, I could do an advertisement for Darn Tough right here on the air. Those things,
Well,
have
they're
not
not
worn
paying
through
us,
at all.
so please don't.
All right, I won't do that. But yeah, Luke, it's been a healthy distribution of socks over the years. Even if it varies from year to year, over the years, it's nice and a healthy distribution.
Do you have a favorite pair of your dress socks?
I do. Would you like to see them?
I would
Wait,
love to.
No, you can't. They're in the dryer
Oh,
because I wore them the other day.
Can
They're a
you-
pair of Smart Wool dress socks. I can describe them. I'm assuming
Wow.
that's what you're about to
yep,
say.
Yeah.
yep.
Sweet. We're on the same wavelength, you and I. It's a pair of Smart Wool dress socks, and they're striped about from the ankle up, but then on the bottom, it's a padded, sort of gently felted, or at least felted from age and wear, cushion. So it's thicker on the bottom. And these are the
Ooh.
comfiest socks that I've ever worn. And the first hole appeared in them this past week. Actually,
Oh no.
I know.
Where
It's
do you
like a-
get holes in your socks? I get them in the big toe all the time. Is that where you get yours?
I get mine in the ball of the big toe.
Okay.
Yeah,
Mm,
ball of my
gotcha.
foot.
I get it right in a little crevice, right in between the big toe and the second big toe.
Oh,
I'm not saying I have two big toes. Sorry. Like,
wait. How many big toes do you have?
I have three actually. And then
One's
just
two
coming
to the
tiny
forehead.
guys.
Listeners, you've never seen this man.
I'm sure
Wait
have
till
no
you
idea.
do. Episode 45, the big toe reveal.
Big toe reveal.
Okay, but we have to write that down. That'll probably be like season 4 or 5 or something.
Oh man, what episode?
Was it a coincidence that
45.
his name is Toe? His last name is Toe.
What? Ooh, it's all a grand conspiracy. What color are these socks with the felted bottoms?
Ooh, the bottoms are brownish.
Do
They're
they
like a reddy brown, and then they're warm colors striped up the sides. They're rusty orange and rusty red and dark warm colors.
Okay.
And then they've got the little Smart Wool yoga person in a couple of places, which is nice too.
Nice. Very fun.
Always be branding.
Always be branding.
Like when you work on a cattle ranch, you always got to be
Not like
branding.
that.
Oh no, not like that. No, that burns. That's
Right.
actually not very nice to the animals.
You're right.
Yeah.
You're right. But people did it for a while.
Yeah, and I grew up on a cattle farm. We don't do that.
That's probably good. That sounds like a traumatizing experience for everyone involved.
Anyways, I like this. I like this proposition. I will say it makes shopping a little bit more complicated, but it already kind of is. So I guess it doesn't make it that much more complicated. Sounds like it'd be really fun and a good time to look at puppies. So
Yeah.
I'm all in.
Let's do it.
Let's do it. Macy's, give us your money. give us that
Sure.
freaking money, and we'll make this happen.
Right.
That's right. If you two Macy's and Petco, if you go into a collab from this, my Venmo will be in the description. So just
Yeah,
send that my way. You heard it here first.
We're gonna put that Venmo in the description either way.
Yep.
Wow, give it really. I think that last one deserves a round of applause. Whoa.
It's like this round of applause was ready for us.
Almost, yeah.
Almost.
It's because we have cue cards in our audience, our like in-person audience is ready.
Right.
Yeah. Wow. And they
Feel so
end
loved.
all on cue. Wow.
Yeah. And they stopped on time too.
Well, they were a little early, but we'll let it
fine.
happen.
Yeah,
it's
yeah.
fine.
Yeah, yeah.
You guys are doing great. Thank you all for coming. Yeah. Yeah, you too.
Excellent. Okay, I have a question for you all. This is not a proposition. This is an
This is a-
actual question.
Actual question.
Okay.
What is the most boring thing that you've had to do at your job? And my context for this is this week at school we had standardized testing. And so yesterday, Thursday, I had to proctor a CMAS, a Colorado Measures of Academic Success. And boy, is that just the worst thing. I thought it was rough to take them, but to just watch children take a test, that's the worst. You can't even like do anything. You just have to sit there and listen to your own thoughts rattle around in your head and occasionally walk in a circle. So that I think is the most boring thing I've ever had to do at a job.
That sounds pretty boring.
Pretty boring.
Yeah.
Yeah. Do either of you have a very boring thing that you've had to do at a job?
I had an idea, but then yours was just so much more boring than mine. So I want to give it more thought.
I'm curious as to what your idea was, though.
Well, my idea was, so I've had all of my real jobs have been, writing software. And then in college, I had more electrical engineering jobs, I was kind of trying to think back to that. But my software boring thing was I was once given the task to try and improve our compile time. This was at the job before the one I have currently, actually like 2 jobs ago. And the way that I was told to do it was to remove all of the includes that we didn't need from the tops of all of our source files. So I don't know if any of you listeners have programmed in C before, but when you say include this file in C, what the preprocessor does is it takes that file and then it copies and pastes it where you told it to include it. And this is useful because it lets you write code once and then use it in a bunch of places. But the trouble is, a lot of times you include things that you don't need to. And so it makes your code a lot bigger than it needs to be. So the gist was I spent several days looking through every file in our code base and deleting includes and seeing if it broke anything. And if it didn't, I left it out. And if it did, I put it back in. And it was a lot of time pressing backspace and F7 and kind of having my eyes bleed. And at the end of the week, like the build time went down from 20 minutes to about 10 minutes. So I guess that was good. But that's the most boring thing that I've been told to do.
That does sound incredibly boring.
That sounds pretty boring. Yeah.
Yeah.
Man.
It took me a couple days.
So when you're deleting stuff, do you like not know what effect it will have? Like I've never done anything remotely close to
Mhm.
what you're discussing, so I don't even know. But like, is it just like a trial and error sort of a situation?
It's yes and no. It depends. So let's say you have your source file, right? You are saying inside that source file, I am a window, and inside this window, there are some checkboxes, something simple like that. Like pick which kind of cheese you want on your burger. If at the top of that file, you're including another file that is like, oh, this is the radio box file. You can tell just by its name, okay, I probably need this. But if you're including like lists of condiments, maybe like, it probably don't need to put the condiment list in the cheese drop-down menu file. You know what I'm saying? So
gotcha.
there's some intuition you can have, but also sometimes it really is trial and error, depending on how long the file is. Like if it's 5,000 lines, sometimes you just delete everything and then put them back until the compiler stops complaining.
Wow.
Sometimes that's honestly the fastest way to do it. And then there's some fun tricks you get into, like with forward declaring your objects, but that's something that if any listeners want to learn about it, they should Google it.
Wow. I knew what each of those words meant individually, for sure.
That still happens to me. I do this for a living, and that still happens to me. So that was my most boring thing. What was yours, Toe?
Well, we're really just disparaging my 3 names. It's fine. I mean, when I think of like boring things I've had to do at work, like I think about like waiting on people to not show up for meetings.
Ooh.
I think a lot
touche.
about like pretty regular boring stuff like bureaucratic paperwork. Anytime I've ever had to fill out like a thing to like accounts payable or whoever's in charge of money, like, oh, this is how much I spent with the my funds that I was allotted at work or whatever. Spent $6.39 on whatever. So like a lot of that stuff for sure. But I think I'm pretty grateful that I've really enjoyed a lot of the work that I've done. Even stuff that I think there's a lot of stuff that other people would find pretty boring that I just am like, oh, this is whatever. A lot of translating work and a lot of like editing work can be pretty boring. Some of the like freelance editing I've done has been pretty tedious. I guess I do a lot of translating work at my job now. This is the first time I've announced what I do.
Is it?
Ooh.
Yeah.
Wow, exciting.
We've talked about what you do, Luke. But
Yeah.
We haven't talked about what I do.
Do we need like a drum roll or something?
No, so I work at a church, and I do a lot of translating work because a lot of the services that we do are in Spanish, and so a lot of things that are sent to me that need to be said out loud are in English. I think a lot of people would find that pretty tedious to like write out chord charts,
Yeah.
like not even lead sheets, but like literally chord charts where it's like every time there's a C major, remember to write in do.
Oh,
Yeah.
oh yeah,
Because
yep,
Spanish is a fixed do solfege.
yep.
Instead of like letters for chords and notes. I think that might be the most boring thing they've done, and that's part of my job now. But I find it, I don't find it boring. I'm just like, yeah, this is translating.
This is translating.
That wasn't super interesting. I can talk about exciting things I've done at work.
Ooh, okay, sure.
I used to run a chainsaw.
That's
Yeah.
at church.
Not at the church. No, different job. I led a chainsaw crew. I was a crew leader for chainsaws, so I taught teenagers how to use chainsaws safely. And then watch them use them super unsafely anyways.
Well, they're teenagers.
They learn.
After having like sawed a leg off or something.
No.
Okay.
No. I
Well,
would
that's
have been
good.
fired if anything like that happened. Because I'd have to like cut through like Kevlar chaps.
Ooh, so they'd have to be like really trying.
They would have had multiple attempts. Yeah, that doesn't just happen. Thank God.
Yeah.
But yeah, watch people drop 60-foot trees. That's pretty exciting. You hear a real loud, real nice, clear thud in the ground, and it's just the most satisfying thing ever.
Nice. I do love me a good thud.
A good, and you're like, wow, that's so cool. Have you guys ever
Sounds
watched
really
like?
satisfying.
Have you all ever watched like YouTube videos of like buildings being detonated? Like,
Yes, I have.
it's so cool.
Those are, yeah, they absolutely are. And how you need to time all of the explosions just right to make it fall perfectly. That's so satisfying.
Yeah.
That would be a cool job.
That would be an incredible job. It sounds like a very high stress job too.
Yeah. High stakes.
Yeah.
Don't mess up.
Yeah.
Don't drop this building on this other building.
Imagine going to work and setting up all of the detonators, and you put your explosives in all the corners, and you walk outside and you press the button and the building comes crashing down, and then you dust off your hands and you turn and you see the building you're supposed to demolish. Like that's a nightmare scenario.
Oh,
That's so much worse than like the dentist pulling the wrong tooth,
Oh yeah.
Or
it's like
the-
that, but like
The
on a
liturgist
much larger
translating the
scale.
wrong psalm.
Yeah.
So much worse.
Wow.
So much.
Yeah, man.
I have another question. It is also work related.
Great.
So this question is for both of you. So it's twofold because I know that we're like pretty, I guess what we would call young professionals. Have your coworkers ever asked or guessed how old you are? And if they've guessed, how far off have they guessed that? And then the second question is, based on that information of how old your coworkers thought you were, have they ever asked if you had kids?
Matthew, would you like to go first, or would you like me to?
I would be happy to go first.
All right.
Let's so the first question you asked, I had a job a while ago when I was in college that was teaching at a summer camp that was really, it bore only a passing resemblance to a summer camp because they taught Minecraft and Minecraft modding and how to play video games, and it was hosted at DU.
Wow.
Shout out to
And-
DU.
Nice.
Shout out to DU, excellent institution. But I taught there for a summer, and I taught 1 week long, classes. One time when I was teaching like 8 to 11-year-olds how to program in Python, one of my other instructors, they were playing a game, how old do you think all the instructors are? And I had a full beard at the time. And one of these 9-year-olds was like, oh, how old do you think this person is? And this little kid responded like, I don't know, 30? And everyone laughed. And then he kind of got ahead of himself and he said, okay, 40? So this,
Wrong.
I was 21. And he thought I was 40. So that hurt. Never talk to that kid again. No, it was
That
the
kid
last day
grew
of
up to
camp,
be
so I
Albert
didn't.
Einstein.
But coincidentally, one of my coworkers at that job was the child of the creator of Little Einsteins.
Whoa.
I'm gonna name drop without naming any names. And we had the same birthday, exactly the same birthday and
Wow.
birth year.
Wow.
Wow.
Mhm.
Maybe
Wow.
you were switched at birth.
Yeah, you could have been a little
Very
Einstein.
possible.
Yeah.
It's very possible. I know.
Yeah.
Okay, but your second question, did anyone ever ask if I had kids? No, no one at work has ever asked if I had kids.
Okay.
Little old ladies tending antique shops always ask if I have kids.
Oh, where are
I
your
say
kids?
that. I say that because when I was living in California, there was a wonderful antique shop that was just down the road from my apartment, and I would always go in there and patronize it. And it was kind of a co-op, so there were, I don't know, 7, 8, 9 or so different people who all, shopped at estate sales and then brought it into this storefront to sell it, and they all had different sections of the stores. And the upshot of that was that every time you walked in, it could be a different, little old lady or little old man manning the till. And they didn't tell each other that I didn't have kids, so they all asked if I had kids. They didn't share that information between themselves.
That's really funny.
It was kind of sweet the first couple times.
On time
It was
like 8 or 9, you're like, oh yeah, I get it. I don't have any kids.
They needed to have a meeting like around the water cooler. Like, all right, you seen this guy? He told me he doesn't have any kids, so don't ask him.
Wow. What about
Pretty much, yeah.
What about you, Luke?
All right, so
First of your name.
that's me. I'm the first of my name. So I have the fun privilege of working with children, which is great. So my coworkers, they've never like really guessed my age, but they've asked, and then they are often like, "Well, I'm old enough to be your mom/dad." And so the two folks who work at the front office, they are lovely, and they both claim to be my work moms. And one of them is old enough to be my mom, but the other one is like 40. So like she like could be my mom kinda, but like it'd be weird, but she's like clinging to this, like, oh yeah, I'm your work mom. And I'm like, okay, like, yeah, I don't know about that. Like she has kids that go to the school, and are in like middle school. So I'm like, I don't know about that. But that's kind of fun. One time, a year ago when I was 24, I was at like a go to a restaurant with all your coworkers sort of function, and I was sitting across from my friend, and she was like, "You're like 12 years old," and I was like, "Yeah, I'm like 2 of 12," and she was like, "Huh, yeah, I'm 4 of 12," and I was like, "Well, you're 2 of me," and she kind of had like a moment of like, "Oh, I am twice your age," and I was like, "Yeah, take that, huh?" So that was sort of fun. But anyway,
What you get for asking about my age.
right? Yeah.
Gonna make you feel the creep of the grave.
48 is ancient. But the kids are really bad at this game. So like my high schoolers usually guess like late 20s, early 30s, but the middle schoolers, if I ask them, they have no idea. I'll get anything from like 20 something to like 40 something. So that's very fun. Sometimes if I like give them yes or no hints, then they'll like eventually get to it, but middle schoolers, it takes much longer. However, I did have a moment last year or perhaps 2 years ago with my high schoolers, where they were playing this game, but we were like, it was with my high school choir, and we were like standing in a circle, and I forget why. I forget what we were doing, but for some reason, we were all in a circle, and I was sitting, and then one of my high school girls was standing next to me. And I don't remember why she was standing where I was sitting. Anyway, so they were guessing my age, and then they finally arrived that I was 24, and then this girl who was standing next to me started laughing, and she was like, "You're only 24?" And I was like, "Yeah." And she was like, "Oh, it's just that you don't have a whole lot of hair." And I was like, "All right, Haley, I didn't need that from you." So that
Middle schoolers are savage.
This was a high schooler. She graduated since
gosh.
then. She was a senior at that time.
Is
I
that why you
think.
name dropped her?
Yeah, I did. Yeah.
No, watch your feet.
Yeah. What?
Watch your feet. Like you're about to drop a name.
Oh,
Like,
yeah. Yep. Yeah. So that happened. So that's the answer to the first question. The second question. Generally no. Generally people don't ask if I have kids, but I do often get, "Do you have a girlfriend?" Which is not the same question, but is fun to answer because they're usually excited at the answer, whatever the answer
Ooh.
is. Yeah.
You're like, it's complicated. And they're like, ooh.
What does that mean?
No, I'm single.
But I'm not.
But you're not.
I'm not.
No.
Yeah.
Yeah, I am.
Great.
Happy for me.
Amen.
I'm not lonely.
Right. You have us.
You're
Yeah.
self-partnered.
I'm,
That's what the people are saying these days. You're self-partnered.
God, I really hate that. Well, I'm going to answer my own question.
Please do.
So at this job, everyone knows my age. everyone asked what my birthday was, but they already knew because every one of them saw my file before I was hired, and I was interviewed by like everyone that I work with before I got hired.
It had your age in there?
I had my age on my like resume.
Okay.
Yeah, or maybe not my age, but like college and stuff like that.
Okay.
So
Yeah.
so they were like, oh, like he's pretty fresh out of college and all that information. Like a couple
Gotcha.
years, but whatever. So at my last job though, where I also worked with kiddos, I worked with kindergartners.
Ooh,
But
fun.
what the real fun was my coworkers, because the kids were like, they're like, I don't know if you're like 18 or 30, like that's. And I was like, that's fine. You're 5. Like your conception of time doesn't exist yet. And they're like, what's time? But my coworkers, specifically the principals at the school that I worked at, and we had 3 principals because there was like an elementary school and a middle school. So one of them was like a middle school, the other one was elementary, the other one was kind of like yes and.
Gotcha.
So between the 3 of them, they couldn't figure out how old I was. The one that hired me knew that I was like pretty freshly out of college and all of that. Still, I think he had in his mind that I was like 28.
Okay.
The second principal, who was the middle school principal, thought I was like 35. And then the other elementary school principal was like, okay, 32. He's like 32, like a young 30s. I was 23.
Oh, man.
And I think about that so much. They also all were 100% convinced that I had kids.
Wow.
They were like, I thought when we hired you, there's something in your file about having children. And I was like, no, I mean, I live with children. I have 4 roommates who were all like 21 at the time. So, yeah. Yeah, no one thinks I have kids now.
What, you don't? I thought you did.
I don't have... Well, unless you know something I don't, Luke. In which case, you better start talking.
I have to tell you something.
Oh.
Do you remember that one time in Reno?
Was it the basement?
Yep.
Oh, no.
It's me. I'm your son.
What?
Yep.
That doesn't make any sense.
Just go with it.
All right. I guess I'm
You
old
need to
enough
get-
to be your dad.
You are, by a little bit.
I'm younger than you are.
By a little bit.
This suddenly became an episode of the Jerry Springer Show.
I am not the father.
Paternity court.
Oh, no.
I have a question for you two.
Ooh.
This is a much requested question from my social circle.
Our friend Kate.
The social circle of mine that does not include you two, which is
Oh.
the other side. This is a much requested question. What is the best musical note?
E flat.
I'm going to say something a little controversial.
Ooh.
I'm going to say something.
If you say D sharp, I'm walking out.
I'm going to say something more controversial than D sharp. F double flat.
No.
You heard it here first.
No, best musical note, genuinely.
Whatever your tinnitus is.
Yeah. It's like
Resonate with your tonight.
it's like a G sharp tuned to 438.
Yeah.
It's a slightly flat G sharp.
just not quite A.
Not quite.
You can't call it A, but you also don't think it's not A.
I think B sharp.
All right. You weirdo.
I have no opinion on this.
Okay.
You have no opinion?
I have no opinion on this.
Okay. What's your favorite letter from A to G?
From A to G.
E flat. Say E flat.
D sharp.
We're gonna go D and a half. 'Cause
Okay.
You didn't say sharps and halves. I'm gonna go halfway between D and E.
Yeah.
In all honesty, I think
D and a half.
my favorite
That was mine. That's what
D
I
and a
said.
half.
No, it's
Yeah.
D sharp. It's D sharp.
Okay, it's whatever. They're inharmonic.
It's not. No, I
buddies.
didn't say E less a half. I
Yeah,
said D and a
exactly.
half.
Exactly.
Okay, all right.
There's a
Inharmonic
difference.
buddies.
F minus 2 halves.
I actually think I don't have a favorite from all of those letters, but my least favorite is G, definitely.
All right. Yeah.
And
yeah.
it's just because of all the different ways that G can be typeset, and I really don't like some of them. Like the G that's
Ooh.
2 circles with the little pokey stick. I hate that G.
Wait. I'm
Like
not
a
familiar
lowercase
with
G?
That G.
Like a lowercase G that's just 2 circles.
Oh, all right.
You
All
know
right.
You know what
I
I'm
was
talking about?
picturing- Yeah,
As
yeah.
opposed to, because the way that I was taught to make a G when I was in preschool, back in 1850, was you draw a cat on a mantelpiece, and the tail hangs down, and that's how you draw a G.
And it's like hooky
Ooh.
on the bottom, right?
Yeah.
And it's hooky on the bottom because the cat's flipping his tail around.
It's like a G. It's like a little circle with a long J attached to it.
Right.
Yeah.
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 That was quite
Glad
the
we got
question.
that sorted out. Yeah.
Friends, this has been absolute blast.
Like Baja Blast
Yes. For whom does the Baja Blast?
for all of us.
I think this is a good place to end this episode.
Wow.
You know, it's been really fun talking about things with you, making
Yeah.
some bad jokes and some mostly wise cracks.
Yeah, you bring up the standard a little bit.
Yeah. A ratio is about half and half when you're not here, Matthew.
It's been wonderful having you. Thanks for hanging out with us.
Yeah. Thank you for being our guest for this episode. We will 100% have you back in
Yeah.
a future episode because this was so much fun. And there's so many things that we didn't talk about that I think we need to.
Right. Definitely
true.
top
That's
2
true.
guest
Yeah.
for sure.
Maybe
I'll be telling my wife.
maybe we can do a future episode. Like I said, at the homestead.
Ooh.
Yeah.
In the next couple of months, we could drive up/down because we didn't describe what state you live in.
That's right.
Right.
Left/right.
Laterally.
Yeah,
One
at
of
some
those.
point. I think we should absolutely do. We should drive to meet up with y'all. We'll do an episode with you and Kate. Imagine having both of you at the same time.
That's a lot to handle. We
That's-
might blow out some mics.
Somebody will be challenged to a fight, probably.
Ooh.
And
Yeah.
someone will lose.
Yeah,
On air.
on air.
Be sure to tune in, stockholders, shareholders.
Be ready for this, the battle royale. No, Matthew, thank you so much for being our guest.
It was my pleasure.
Thank you all of you shareholders for listening to yet another episode of this wonderful podcast.
Amen.
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 Well, perfectly said. First of your name, where can people find us on the internet?
Ooh, people can find us on our website, www, that stands for World Wide Web, .lukeandjorgepod.podbean.com, or they can follow us on our social media at Luke and Jorge Pod. That's Twitter and or Instagram. Or you can email us at lukeandjorgepod@gmail.com. Send us your questions and or whether you like us or not, and also sign up for the shoot. What's that called?
The
newsletter,
newsletter?
right? Yeah, that. The thing where we send you news in a letter. The newsletter.
Yeah, the first edition of the newsletter is going to come out on May 1st, which is like depending on when you listen to this, it's any number of days away.
Or in the past.
Or in the past. Check out our newsletter. We've been working diligently on this first edition.
Yep.
It comes out May 1st. It is going to be so good. Lots of news, lots of stuff to tell you all about.
Lots of letters.
And lots of songs on this playlist.
Yeah.
Yeah.
At least 2.
Plural, yes.
Yeah.
Plural songs. Well, this has been a podcast. Thank you all. Bye-bye.